Welcome to hashtag 52 Needs, and this week we're exploring predictability, and we are very unpredictable about being unpredictable. If you have watched Predictability in Everyday Life, you'll know how unpredictable that was. Anyway, I am so delighted to have with me my good friend and my accountant, Susan Wahhab, who is a CPA, financial strategist, and money mentor. Susan is the founder and managing director of accounting and financial services firm Money Intelligence. She's also the author of the transformational and practical book, Money Intelligence Anchored in Value, highly recommended, values in value as well. Susan is passionate about helping people achieve financial liberation. She believes that people can become financially liberated by developing a healthy relationship with money through the art of balancing money with spirituality. Hello, Susan. Welcome back.
Hello, Angela. Hi.
Okay, so we're going to talk about money at work. Not money. Predictability at work.
Yes.
Well, money is one of those things that we want to be predicted. We want to be predictable, right?
Yes.
And especially at work. I mean, there's nothing more predictable than a paycheck, right?
Well, I'm not sure in the age of outsourcing and technology, if someone's paycheck or anyone's job, especially now with COVID, if anyone's job is really predictable. Even in business, as you and I would know, being in business for so many years, I've seen ups and downs in business. And I think one of the things that every single one of us, whether we're an employee or a business person, need to be aware of is there is no predictability in how much money you can make in any year. And there is no predictability that you're going to have the same client next year. There's no predictability you're going to have the same job next year, or that you're going to be earning the same income next year. I think we need to let go of trying to make it predictable. We have to live with that. We have to live with the anxiety, actually. We have to be able to accept that anxiety of losing a customer, losing business, losing your job, losing or having a reduced paycheck. Some people have had, after COVID, I know even a lot of accounting firms reduced employees' salaries by 20% by saying, well, you don't need to work 5 days a week. We have less work for you. And so all of these things that have happened to people, especially in the past 2 years, each one of us needs to understand that you cannot predict how much money you will make. The only thing you can really predict, which is within your control, is how much you can deal, how much effort, how much resources you're going to put into dealing with the issues that will come up in your career or in your business. If you know at the back of your mind whether your job is insecure, whether the business is shaky, and you sit there and at the back of your mind, because things don't just happen overnight. If you know at the back of your mind these things are changing, why haven't you done anything about it in the first place when the thought came to your mind in the first place? And so we know deep down whether we are needed or not, whether we are, in demand or not, whether we're going to keep our job or not. We know. And so if we know, then we can actually have control over who we become. And a lot of people forget that. They are just trying to, let's say, focus on how much money they want to make, rather than at work, especially at work, working people, focused on how much money they want to make, how much money the guy next to them is making. People want to know how much the other person is getting paid for the same work that they're doing.
Yeah.
Instead of focusing on that, focus on how can I make what I do better? How can I be better in what I'm doing? Is there anything else I need to upgrade? Is it a hard skill in the line of work that I'm doing, or is it a soft skill that could help me in the line of work that I'm doing? So when we're trying to, like, you know, live with that unpredictability of life, the only thing we can control is who we are. And so upgrading ourselves and the CPU unit here, upgrading here, right, is the best predictor of where we can go, how much money we can make. So if we stop thinking about the money and start thinking about how much contribution can I make to this company? So even if you're supposed to work from 9 to 5, but you know, by 5 o'clock, you've got this job to do, just sit there and do it. Don't wait for the overtime to be paid or that your boss is going to notice. Just do it from your heart, because in the end, people will notice anyway. Because the employer is trying to look for the result and the outcome rather than, ka-ching, have you added up the hours, or did you, you know, do you know what I mean? And so just focusing on where we can contribute more. How can we help our the people around us, you know, people that work with us? How can we give from our heart? How can we not, what's the word? It's actually like not scheming on people. And I think in big corporations, there's a lot of scheming and politics that goes with it. Just focus on your work. How can you do a better job? How can you improve within yourself? And I know people who have basically, you know, when I think about how people, clients of mine have grown or gone into a bigger, you know, a bigger position, they have done something that they've improved themselves. So whether it's leadership training, like in the kind of work that you do, they've been, you know, like one client was, even after he got promoted, he kept his coach.
Hey, I mean, always people say, why do you still have a coach? And I go, because
the next level.
Exactly. I mean, elite athletes have coaches, you know, just because they not go to the Olympics doesn't mean they stop having a coach.
Exactly. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. So I think some people focus on the wrong thing rather than, you know, we're focusing on the end result, which is like making more money, rather than focusing on enjoying the journey, enjoying what you do, contributing to people, not with, from your heart, not just kind of go, well, if I help him, what will I get out of it? I need to get something out of it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And the other aspect of that is if I focus on the predictability of earning money, what happens is, and I've seen this with many clients, they get themselves into a lifestyle that is not sustainable. Not necessarily. So I have, and I talk to people and I go, okay, so you're really unhappy in your job. You really don't want to be here anymore, but you've got a house with a huge mortgage. You've got 2 cars. The kids all go to private school. You know, you go on holidays, you go on vacation twice a year. But the fact is, you know, what are you doing this for? Is you want to provide a good life for your family. When's the last time you spent quality time with your family? Do you think the kids need to go to private school, or would they enjoy the presence of their parent instead of being tutored by somebody else? You know, and that's the predictability where people get under pressure and they get themselves into a lifestyle where I go, really, is this really what you want?
Yeah, because I think we have a disease, and I don't know how we can get out of it in our society, and I see it all the time. Which is, you know, I have to keep up with somebody else, you know, like you've got at the back of your mind, every time you go shopping for clothes, for cars, for a house, you've got at the back of your mind at least 5 of your friends or family that you're kind of in competition with. And as you're looking for this car, as you're looking for to put your kids in this school or to buy this house, at the back of your mind, there's those important supposedly important people you want to, you know, like either, you know, like show off with, or show up with.
Yeah.
And those 5 people are doing the same thing.
And the
You
thing
might,
is,
you might be on their list, or you might not be on their list.
Exactly.
But you, in your mind, they're on your list, and everybody's on everybody's list.
Yeah.
And then they miss out on really living, because even they don't even enjoy the car that they're in, but it looks good on the outside.
I mean, I loved it when my car became, I can't even remember, I think it was 3 years old, and they called me up and said, would you like to change it for a newer model? It's going to be really nice. And I'm going, why would I do it? It's as soon as I drive it off the lot, my accountant would tell me it's only worth half that money. We can deduct it, and but it's not really worth it. It's not an asset. So why would I?
Yeah. And I see it. I see that, like, some people go and lease a car for like $2,000 a month, and I just think, why would you waste your money? Either put that money towards from my perspective, being a WOG, it's like, why don't you take that and buy an investment property that you can give to your kids, or it helps you to retire, for your retirement. So I think there's a couple of things people like, because we're brainwashed, the society is brainwashed into just being a consumer society. One is, you got to live for now and live it up, and you can actually buy these things through debt. So that, we got sold that idea. And the other one is, well, you don't feel valued. You're not of value unless you have that particular car, that postcode, you live in that postcode. And so we end up collapsing in our mind who we really are. And we forget what we're, like, I see very intelligent, very amazing people who are consumed with paying a huge mortgage, as you said, and a huge car lease. And I just go, geez, imagine if they're freed from that bondage, what could they be doing in their life? And I think that's where we all need to get to, and including myself. It's like, I want to free myself from working 5 days a week in my business. I want to do 4 days a week, because the 5th day, I want to actually do something that is going to help some community. I'm going to do some pro bono work. I want to do something that I give back, rather than just, it's all about just making money for money's sake. It just doesn't make sense. How we're living, it does not make sense completely. And I don't want to be in debt. One of the things that I don't want to do is be in debt and think about, oh, I need to earn another client, get another client, because that's going to pay my lease for this and that. Just forget about that rubbish. We are consumed with rubbish that in the end, we're not going to take it with us. No. We're just going to be that little thing in the ground.
Yeah. But the thing is, we are still sold, as you said, we're sold on the idea of predictability. I remember when I first started my company, which is 25 years ago, you would know better than I do.
Yes.
I mean, everybody was going, are you crazy? You need to get a job with a steady paycheck, and all of that. And I was like, but looking back, I mean, like, yes, do I have moments where I sit, oh God, what am I doing here? And COVID hasn't helped. But I think I'm far more equipped to deal with unpredictability than a lot of people who are used to having a steady check, because I don't buy things where I go, oh, this will add to my prestige, or this, like, again, I mean, some people say, I can't remember who said this, but I mean, remember when I lived out of a suitcase, somebody suggested that I should buy a bigger car, same thing. And I went, why? Like, but you are in that position where, and clients, I'm like, my clients don't hire me for my big car.
Yes, that's right.
Like they want me for what I can contribute to them. But we are in this place where everything has to be predictable, but the world isn't. I mean, all I have to do is when we were talking, it's like update, systems update. Remember how I went, oh God, not an update now.
Yes.
Like, we are so short-term unpredictable now. Like, I mean, again, COVID has been it was supposed to be a few months, and now it's totally unpredictable.
It could be another 2 years, 3 years.
And I mean, I remember the times where somebody sat me down and said, let's do a 5-year plan. And I just laughed. And I said, I don't know where I'm going to be in 5 years' time. Like, there's no point. Let's
Can I just say about the 5-year plan? I know exactly what you mean. You know,
Yeah,
like you can't. It's true. You can't actually predict what will happen in 5 years' time. But what all we can do, as I said before, is like, you know, working on yourself, working out what you want to do in life. You could write that plan. There's nothing stopping you from writing the plan, but not be consumed or be or just like be disheartened, or that things did not work out according to plan when you think back 5 years later.
Absolutely.
And be consumed by it.
Yeah, but my point was that this person was making it all dependent on external circumstances.
Yes.
Well, when
correct.
I'm not in control of these circumstances, so there's no point in doing this.
So the 5-year plan could be about you. It's about, you know, what do I really want to do? How can I make a difference?
Yeah.
So I remember like after the GFC, you know, the global financial crisis in 2008, I actually had like, you know, I had a discussion with a coach, you know, at least I think a couple of years after the financial crisis happened. And I could see lots of people suffered, lots of clients, people invested in this and that, and people lost money. And, you know, we went into the conversation about, you know, how can I help people achieve financial security? And I walked away, you know, and also financial security for myself. And I remember I had like maybe 2 or 3 sessions with that coach. And in the end, the conclusion was that really we can't actually predict we can't achieve financial security for people or for ourselves. The only thing we can achieve is to actually better who we are. And I remember going, what can I do better? Because you know, for me, you know, as you know, I'm like you, I like to, you know, continuously have continuous professional and personal development and growth. And, you know, I've done my master's in accounting. I've done all these things, my CPA, SMS specialist. I've done my financial planning. What else can I do more? You know, what else? How can I better myself to be equipped to deal with things that I don't know what will happen? Because the global financial crisis came out of left field and shocked everybody, especially people in the financial services industry like myself. And then one client who you met once, she said to me, I'm doing a diploma of positive psychology, when she came to a tax planning session. And I'm like looking for something, and I went, oh, I want that. That's what I want. So I ended up doing it with her. Actually, we did it together. And so that was, I think, about 3 years ago. And I didn't finish the assignments because COVID hit. And I remember when COVID hit, I was like, oh my God, I can't do this and I can't do that, and I can't do my assignments and all this stuff. And I got to a point where I realized I got my, because, you know, we did a whole week of training and I had to do like, you know, so much reading. So I've already done my reading. I just didn't do the assignments. And I realized, oh my God, having these one-on-one sessions with clients who were on the brink of financial collapse in their business, you know, 1.5 years ago, and providing all these seminars and webinars and free stuff for clients was actually, it helped me because it helped them, because I used the positive psychology on them. But I didn't realize that's how it was going to turn out.
Yeah.
To allow people, to give them the financial security through positive psychology. I didn't connect them. I knew in my heart that is where I wanted to go, but it just landed on me 1.5 years ago. And I'm still using positive psychology with people because that's the only thing we can, like, you know, help people. And that's part of the conversation, is like positive psychology. But I can't believe how much difference it's made to people. And I didn't even know that it was gonna, I wasn't sure. I didn't predict how it was going to turn out.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful, you know, like that I've done that. And it could be that in 5 years time, something else might come up in the line of work that I'm doing. How, because I think what happens, we get into a ceiling and we go, how can I build, you know, how can I break that ceiling?
Yeah.
And that's the thing with everybody in the line of work that they're doing, whatever it is, whether you're an employee or you're running a business, go back to who you are, what your message is, what your purpose is, where you want to make the difference, who do you want to make the difference to, and just focus on that and forget about the money. Because the moment you think about money, you stuffed up your career and you stuffed up your business. I think that's what we need to get to. We get to the point of you're going to live with the unpredictability of how much money you end up making, and live with the predictability that you have control over your life, and you, with your positive outlook on life, that you have to renew on a daily basis, if not on a, you know, every time you have your meal, you know, like 3 times a day, as we said in last session, 3 times a day, get to a point of gratitude and see where you're at and how much abundance you're living in your life. So yeah.
So that was you as the spiritual accountant, money intelligence person. Okay, so I would love to conclude with just making a couple of points, and that is, we need routine and we need habit to create some predictability. But what's really important is to choose where we put our energy for that. Because if we're getting into a place where all our life is predictable, I go to work the same route, I sit in the same chair, I do the same work, I eat the same food, at night I watch the same videos or the same TV shows, I sit in the same chair again, I sleep on the same side of the bed, and I've got a routine. What it does, it stops me from taking risks, it stops me from exploring who I am and what my potential is. But it's also important to create some really good habits, you know, like exercising, you know, eating healthy food, stuff like that. So I would invite everybody to have a look at, where is predictability, both in life and in work, really useful, and where does it stop you from fulfilling who you really are?
Can I just, one thing when you were talking about, you know, like having the same routine in your life, it actually, what it ends up doing is ill-equips you.
Shrinks your brain.
Yes. So when things change, you are not equipped to deal with the change.
Exactly.
And that's the, you know, and I know that a lot of people want the security. They want, you know, we all want security. I'd love to sit in my comfort zone forever. But yeah, I think we need to get to a point where we realize life is not fair. And when unfair stuff happens, we have to make a decision on how we're going to deal with those unfair things that happen to us or happen to people around us. And you know, having you know, I was going to say about having a good, it's not a plan, but it's more like knowing that things are not going to happen in sequence. You know, so even in our economy, and a lot of people don't realize that, is we go through the ups and downs in an economy. So and it's never going to stop. This is how society has been built. That the economy every 7 years kind of, you know, has to, whatever goes up must come down. So we end up with structural changes in the economy, and we need to be aware that those structural changes are going to impact us, impact our jobs, and impact our personal wealth. And if we're, you know, like, you know, you said, you know, instead of having, you know, a huge mortgage and a huge leases and things like that, if we just live within our means and save during the good years, save for the bad years when they come, because they definitely will come, then you can really achieve some sort of financial predictability. Because the reason people end up suffering in the, you know, when times are bad, like let's say you know, during COVID now, it's because they did not prepare for it 7 years before. So you're going to be prepared for the next crisis, because the next crisis will come. Every 7 years we see a financial crisis that will impact every single human being's life on the planet. That's how the economy and how society is structured. And if we want to bring some financial security, some sort of financial security in what we do, we gotta use the good years and save up to use for the bad years. And if we're living like, if you're living this way rather than like this, you know, in how you're living in terms of buying, and you know, you go crazy binging and spending and going on holidays that you can't afford and putting on the credit cards and things like that, then, and you just live within whatever you're saving and we live within your means and forget about those top 5 people that you're trying to impress. I think we can achieve financial security as well as work, of financial predictability as well as work predictability, if we take both at the same time.
That's perfect. So thank you for that, Susan. I think that this has, I mean, it's definitely given me some food for thought, like massive. And I know we've known each other for a very long time and we've had these conversations frequently, but there's always another gem in there. So thank you so much.
Is it? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And thanks everybody for watching, and I'll see you next week.